All right. One more. But I will attempt to clear my throat less. We'll see how that works. I can't control it. So if you've paid attention to the notes, right? So you have copies of these fun things here. There's a lot of complicated structures in DNA. So these are the parts of DNA that we're talking about that bind the two ends of the double helix together, right? So this is the molecular recognition that ends up being used as a template to create proteins and all that kind of stuff. So DNA is, of course, super cool because it is our information, right? So this is all our genetic information. You know the stuff. Hopefully, if not, you'll get a chance to learn it. So all of the base pairs in DNA, our heterocycles, all of them also are aromatic, right? So we've spent time looking at the rules for what makes things aromatic, and it has to be planar, right? And you don't have to decode all this just by looking at it, but this is cytosine, or an abbreviated version of it. It's got 2 nitrogens in it and a carbonyl, right? So carbon double bond oxygen. It has a lone pair here in blue that's planar and sticking out, so that wouldn't count towards aromaticity. It's got a lone pair here in green that does, right? So it's an odd structure compared to something like pyridine or benzene, but it ends up being aromatic, it ends up being planar, and this is really important, right? So all of our base pairs of DNA will bond to another one, sitting on the side here. I didn't make 2 models. I probably could have. Do better next time. And held in place there, right? So it's planar, which allows a lot of these base pairs to kind of stack on top of each other, basically being space efficient, right? Also, aromaticity is a particularly strong form of resonance. We don't want our DNA base pairs to fall apart very easily. Having them be aromatic structures helps add a little bit of extra stability there, so they can't be easily destroyed. Or easily changed, really, because once you start changing DNA base pairs, you start thinking about mutations, cancer, stuff like that. So they're flat. That's good. That helps them be nice and stable, and also helps them stack neatly so that you can fit a lot more molecular recognition DNA information, per nanometer, right? So per space, right? Space counts, right? We have a ton of base pairs. They pack in really neatly. So, but an interesting side effect of this is part of the reason why smoking causes cancer, right? So people talk about, there's chemicals in cigarette smoke. Maybe if something more natural, I'm burning incense. Am I avoiding these nasty chemicals of cigarette smoke? So there is a lot of different things in smoke. It's kind of a random combustion reaction with a lot of side products that are hard to predict. But one of the things that you do make are aromatic molecules, polyaromatic hydrocarbons. I drew this one super randomly. It is aromatic. Every carbon is part of a double bond structure. It's a big, complicated one as far as things go. It's flat, right? So anytime you burn organic stuff, so whether that be your campfire, your food, your cigarettes, anything combusted, you're going to make polyaromatic hydrocarbons because they're these really stable molecules with lots of resonance. So if you throw in a ton of energy at organic molecules, these are some of the things you tend to make. They can get really, really big and be kind of like tar, or they can be relatively small and just think sort of like black, sooty smoke. But they're flat, right? And they're nonpolar. And the smaller ones can, if you breathe them in, travel through the body. And one of the places where they can end up causing problems is in your DNA. So all these nice base pairs stack up. Sticking a polyaromatic hydrocarbon in there, it fits pretty well. The interaction there is called pi-pi stacking, but that's going to screw up the works, right? Putting something else in there, it's just like throwing a wrench into a moving mechanical motor. it gets in the way, right? It's going to cause problems for DNA replication, or it can, especially the more you have, the harder it is to make up for that sort of problem. So aromatic molecules, these polyaromatic hydrocarbons, are flat. And they can fit nicely into those DNA stacks, and that ends up causing one of the major problems with smoking and cancer causing. So it really doesn't matter for the aromatic hydrocarbon exposure, whether it's a candle or a cigarette or a campfire or burnt food, you're getting these polyaromatic hydrocarbons. Of course, the dose makes the poison, right? So if you walk by a smoky campfire once, you have a small exposure to polyaromatic hydrocarbons. If you smoke a bunch of times a day, every day of your life, you have a massive amounts of overtime, long-term chronic exposures, and that's when it really adds up. And then the probability of running into DNA problems, just skyrockets from there. But this is what it's all for, right? So it's not just, get the test done, remember some rules. This is the molecules that make our lives work, right? So the more we understand them, the more we can make sort of informed decisions. So yeah, Wednesday topic? Not really, but maybe we can still do these. Send me an email if you got a fun idea, and maybe we can still do Wednesday topics. It's Wednesday. All right, see ya. Less throat clearing.